Hello drama lovers, welcome back to K-pop World. Today, we're diving into an event that wasn't covered by major media, wasn't officially announced, and rarely discussed, yet it deeply moved those who noticed the subtle signs. A quiet funeral, two public figures appearing without fanfare, and a mysterious woman whose passing brought tears to their eyes. This story isn't just about who passed away. It's about a hidden relationship, unspoken emotions, and a sorrow that didn't need words. The biggest question remains, who was this woman that made both Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan cry in silence? May 17, 2025. A small funeral held on the outskirts of Hangzhou. No cameras, no reporters, no official posts. But eyewitnesses couldn't ignore who came that day. Wang Yibo, dressed in a simple black suit, entered the site with his head down. He came alone. He didn't greet anyone. He simply stood at the edge of the grave, his hands tightly clasped in front of him. Moments later, another black car pulled up. Xiao Zhan stepped out, walking slowly with an unreadable expression. He looked lost. When his eyes met Yibo's, they exchanged no words, but their gaze spoke volumes. No hugs, no warm greetings, just a long silence, like they knew there were no words fit for the loss they were facing. The woman being buried wasn't a public figure, but the way they stood there, the way they cried in silence, it was clear. She wasn't just anyone. No name was mentioned, no identity released, just a simple headstone, carved only with birth and death dates. But online whispers began to rise. An anonymous Weibo account claiming to be a former The Untamed staff member wrote, "She wasn't a star, but she was their pillar." The name Jiang Yue emerged. Rumors say she was once a small part of the production crew. Not someone ever seen on camera, but someone known for keeping the peace on set. Longtime fans remembered vague stories of a female staff member who always brought warm tea to the two lead actors, who quietly calmed tensions when fandom pressure, rumors, and exhausting schedules nearly broke their bond. She never gave interviews, had no public social media, but she was known by those who paid close attention. One funeral attendee shared, "I didn't hear Yibo speak at all, but he never stopped looking at that casket, like he still hoped she would wake up and smile again." Xiao Zhan, on the other hand, appeared more fragile. He bowed his head and whispered something to the headstone. No one knows what he said, but a witness saw him softly brush the stone with his hand, like he was touching a memory. And when his body trembled slightly, it was hard not to cry too. Usually seen as towering celebrities, that day they were just two men who lost someone who once felt like home in silence. 2018, the start of the Untamed filming. An overwhelming amount of pressure hit both Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, not just from the complexity of their roles, but from fan expectations, media scrutiny, and strict industry demands. In the chaos, Jiang Yue emerged, not as a director, not as a manager, but as a reminder. Someone said she used to call them over during minor on-set arguments. She'd make warm drinks and say, "Don't forget why you're here." A simple sentence, but for those drowning in pressure, it was an anchor. After the drama aired and their fame exploded, it said the two actors drifted apart, not out of hate, but from the weight and politics of the entertainment world. Yet, longtime fans believed Jiang Yue remained in the middle. She'd send messages to each of them, quietly delivered greetings, and while the world saw them drift apart, maybe only she knew their hearts had not. And maybe that's why her funeral brought them together again. In grief, the hashtag #ThankYouJiangYue briefly trended on Weibo before being taken down. But screenshots spread quickly. Thousands of fans wrote tributes, even though they didn't know her personally. She wasn't an idol, but she protected our idols. Even in death, she managed to bring Yibo and Zhan into the same frame. Not for work, but to cry together. Someone wrote, "All this time we saw their light, but now we see the one who kept it from going out." At the end of the ceremony, Wang Yibo stood at the very back. Someone saw him look at the sky for a long time. Then, with his back turned to everyone, he quietly said, "We'll keep going." Xiao Zhan, meanwhile, bowed his head and murmured, "You are my quietest strength." Words that perhaps no one else heard. But for those who witnessed it, it was the end of a chapter that had never been public. A chapter written not in ink, but in tears. Who was Jiang Yue? Was she really just a staff member? Or something more? Was her relationship with them strictly professional? Or did she play a deeper emotional role we'll never fully understand? One thing is clear. This wasn't just the loss of a crew member. It was the loss of someone who, without cameras, without fame, touched two hearts the world had nearly broken. And maybe, through those tears falling quietly at her casket, we are reminded, sometimes, the deepest love is the one never seen. Have you ever lost someone who was quietly your greatest strength? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if any new updates emerge about this story, you'll be the first to know, only on K-Pop World. See you in the next video. Take care of your heart, and never forget those who once silently saved you from the dark.